Okay, welcome everybody. Very nice to see you guys in person and online here. A special note that the shiurim for the month of Cheshvan and Kislev are sponsored for the success of Yitzchak Reuven ben Shulamis Esther, Avram Kalman ben Shulamis Esther, and for healing and unity for all of Am Yisrael. So thank you to our special anonymous sponsor. And you know who you are, and also for Refuah Shlema for David ben Nelly, and who's in Princess Margaret right now, and also for a Refuah Shlema for Yaakov ben Miriam, going through some difficult times, and God willing, we should see only good things for all of our friends and our families, and for all of Klal Yisrael. Okay, and so. Let's jump right in, because I don't know how much we're gonna get through tonight, but we're gonna okay. So we have to orient ourselves with a particular topic that we were speaking about last week, in order, because we kind of stopped right in the middle of a concept, and we're gonna, Nitz Hashem, get to a new concept today. I think I'm going to push us through so we can start a new concept, because it's going to be awesome. Okay. So the main thing that we were talking about is this idea of hamtakas hadinim, and that means, as we said, sweetening of the judgments. Dinim are harsh decrees, judgments that we find ourselves in. So that means that when we're facing the tests, challenges, difficulties that we all have to confront in this world, you know, that's like kind of the opposite of Hashem sending just light to us, just goodness, light, right? So when Hashem has to hold back the light, restrain it, that comes from the place of din and judgment. And when that light is held back, so we feel the challenge, and we feel distant, and we feel suffering, we feel pain, sometimes we feel confusion. We don't see Hashem. It's a place of darkness and confusion. That's din. So we said an interesting idea, which is something that I think we're going to stick to in the way that we're explaining it for this shir, which is that the idea of hamtakas hadinim is not necessarily that it removes the quote-unquote decree, right? But rather, it might, the hamtaka, the sweetening of the situation, might come in the form of a broader perspective, an ability to relate to what's going on in a way where we see Hashem clearly, and where we see with emunah, where we see the goodness in the world, and we're able to see through the test with emunah and simcha. We're able to get through it with a greater perspective, you know, and you know, it's like we've given over the years many different mashalim, many different allegories to be able to understand such a situation, right? But two of the ones that we like to use are the it's always with an alien, by the way, has to be an alien, and the weightlifter, and the woman giving birth mashal, right? So the weightlifter mashal is like, if you had someone, they're an alien because they come onto our planet and they don't have any idea, preconceived notions as to how things work in the world, right? And they walk into, first place the alien walks into for some reason, is into a gym where there's like real serious bodybuilders, powerlifters, right? And the alien walks in and he sees these guys that are like lifting up the thing, and their faces are contorting, and they're sweating, and they're yelling as they're lifting it up, right? And over again. And he looks in and he sees and he thinks this must be like the slave trade central, where they're forcing them to go through this pain. This must be the torture chamber of Earth, right? Because of what it looks like. And that's from one perspective. if you're forced to lift heavy weights, for a few hours straight, it's torture, and it's pain. What are you doing, right? If you were taken prisoner and put into a work camp and told to move heavy things for a few hours, you'd feel like you were being tortured and oppressed, right? But these crazy bodybuilders, no offense if anyone here is a crazy bodybuilder, but right? I don't know.
My son-in-law.
I'm not judging. But they are doing it with tremendous simcha, happiness. They live for it. They love it, right?
Yeah.
And the second mashal being the woman giving birth mashal, which is same alien. The next place he goes after he leaves there is he walks into the hospital, the what's it called, ward of the hospital, the maternity ward of the hospital, obstetrics, yeah. And he goes in and sees the scene of a woman giving birth, and he throws the door open and walks in, and she is screaming, right? She's screaming, and there's people freaking out, and there's blood, and there's all, and he's like, oh my gosh, they are killing this woman in the most cruel way. It must be. I must have gone into the execution room of Earth, right? And that's his perspective that the alien in my made-up story sees, right? But the perspective of the woman giving birth, she's. I mean, I'm not presuming to know what's going through a woman's mind in such a situation, but it's the opposite. It's not the execution chamber. It's creation, and she's doing it. Okay, maybe not happy at that moment, but she's doing it from a place of happiness, and she wants to do it, and she's probably going to do it again if she can. Maybe. Once again, no judging. But you hear, in other words, but in both cases, the situations are situations that from one perspective are pain and suffering, and maybe even cruelty. But from another perspective, it's like happiness and growth. Happiness, growth, and creation. Right? So in a certain way, it's not always so simple, but in a certain way, so too. Everything that we have to go through, our struggles and our suffering, that we end up experiencing. So there's different perspectives. If we're totally distant from Hashem and Emunah, so then it's the alien perspective. It's the cruelty perspective. It's the oppression perspective, right? It's the victim perspective. Mashen came. If we're viewing it from a place of Emunah, and even without knowing exactly what's happening or why, but I know that Hashem always only gives me things that are good for me. And He always only gives me things that are meant for me, specifically. And only things that I can get through. Right? So then, I can begin to think that the effort I'm putting through and the muscles that I'm pumping in Emunah and Simcha and Kedusha and all these things are there, and I'm growing through them. They're making me stronger. They're making me better. They're connecting me more. They're another important one. They're enabling me to be a better parent, or a better spouse, or a better friend, because I'm growing. I'm becoming something through these, right? So sometimes the hamtakas adin means it's not a removal of din. It's a hamtaka. It's a sweetening of the din. And sometimes the sweetening is in this form of being able to have an illumination. That, you know what? It's okay. I'm going to do it. I'm going to make it through. Yeah.
I was going to say both the negative perspectives are from the alien who doesn't have the knowledge.
Right. Yes, exactly. Okay, very good point. So she says over here, Tali just said this beautiful idea that the alien in my made-up stories, once again, I don't know why I use alien, but does not have knowledge of what's really of what actually has happened, right? And so without knowledge, this is one of the things that the next Torah that we're going to learn is going to speak a lot about this Indian, the Indian of das or dat, which is usually translated as knowledge, but does not mean that at all. Das means, in the deeper Torah, it means an awareness of Hashem, an awareness that Hashem is is running every moment of my life. Every moment of my life, Hashem is interacting with me. That's what das is. That's what knowledge really is, das. And so when we have that, we have a whole different life. And like I always like to point out from Rabbi Arush, right? That he says there's a life that a person leads before they have emunah, and a life that a person leads after they have emunah. And after a person has emunah, he says that's why he called his book Began HaEmunah, in the garden of emunah, because after a person has emunah, then life is like Gan Eden, right? You can go through all kinds of difficulties with a smile, with simcha, with happiness, like a crazy Breslover, just happy, right? Because you're with Hashem all the time. So this is an aspect of Hamtaka. But this idea, so the thing that we spoke about last week, which is, by the way, I'm on page 260 here in this book. If anybody, let's see it, or in the black book of the BRI. So the thing is that we don't just magically appear and in the snap of a finger have this experience of a new perspective, of a hamtaka, right? Of the ability to experience this. Why? Because in order to do this, we need to be plugged in to the light of Hashem, basically. The light of Hashem, which we said over here is called Chachma Yelah, which means the uppermost wisdom. The uppermost wisdom. That really means it's the light of Hashem from the highest place. The light of Hashem from the highest place. Shh. The light of Hashem from the highest place. And this, when we draw this down, it lights up our world. It illuminates our face. It gives us the clarity and vision. It gives us insight. There's a reason why in the world, the way that the world was created, that night is dark, and it's a time of traditionally, not so much in our times, but it's a time of fear. It's a time of, in the old days, as soon as it got dark, people went into their houses and didn't leave. Right? And they slept better hours and all kinds of things, right? But why? Because the world is dangerous in the nighttime. And it's dark and you can't see. They didn't have street lights everywhere. They didn't have flashlights to go around. You don't know what's lurking around the corner. You can't see. It's not clear. It's dark. It's dangerous. It's scary, right? That's nighttime. That's darkness. And in the morning, lahagid v'boker chasdecha. In the morning time, we can give over the kindness of Hashem. We can see the kindness of Hashem because when it's light, and light gives us the ability to see and to understand and to have clarity, right? So too, the way that we understand and the way that our sages explain to us what Hashem brings down into the world, it's always in the name of light. The light from Hashem. Because light is what gives us clarity. Light is what gives us the ability to see. It illuminates us, right? It gives us happiness. So, when there's certain types of depression that people can have, especially living in Canada,
sad,
where specifically during the winter time, people get very down because there's not enough light. Right, you have daylight from say 7, sometimes 8 o'clock in the morning until sometimes 4:30 in the evening, in the afternoon, not the evening.
People at work.
Right, yeah, and so people can get depressed from the darkness, and so one of the medical prescriptions is to have a fancy light that emulates daylight that you put on in your house and shine it on you, and it helps to change the mood of a person. There's a term for this. I can't remember what it is, but what? Winter blues, yeah. There's a scientific there's a scientific term for sad and winter blues specifically to do with light. I can't remember what it's called, but in any case, why am I saying these crazy things right now? Because it's the or hachachma, the chachma yelah, the light that comes down from Hashem, that is what, just like physically, light affects us and gives us positivity and clarity, right, and the ability to see. So too, when Hashem is sending us shefa, energy, right? Spiritual energy. We call it light because this is what it does to us. It gives us clarity. It gives us happiness. It gives us energy, right? And this is what we want to experience. But we can't get that unless we have all of these ingredients, which are from the beginning of the Torah, which are emunas chachamim, right? faith. It's a terrible translation, but faith in our chachamim, in our sages, right? But not only that, and then also we have to have Torah, and we have to have the Torah shebiksav and the Torah shebal peh, right? Because as we explained, in order to draw down this light, we have to have a shleimus of Torah, a completion of Torah. And the Torah, one of the main topics of last week was that the Torah shebiksav is not complete. It's not whole. It's missing. But the Torah shebal peh, the oral Torah of the Chachamim, is what comes and fills in the blanks and explains the rest of the Torah to us. This is on Har Sinai. Moshe Rabbeinu received the written Torah and the oral Torah all at the same time. The written Torah was written, and the oral Torah is transmitted every single generation to every person. Right? And we have to have this shleimus HaTorah, the whole thing, in order to be able to connect and draw down this Orach Chachma, this Chachma Ilah, down into ourselves to illuminate us, to give us clarity, to give us the ability to see. And that place of Chachma Ilah is the place of the foundation of everything. It's the place where Hashem begins to put energy, His light into the world. All of creation comes from that place, and we called it, if you remember, Even Shasiya, which means the foundation stone. And the Even Shasiya is the place where everything comes in. We're going to also see that the tzaddik hador, the biggest, every generation has someone who's the biggest tzaddik, and who it's kind of not the best way to say it, who's the tzaddik that through that person, through that holy person, all of the holiness comes into the world. Through that person that's called, he's also called the Even Shasiya, the foundation stone, right? Foundation is, I'm sure we've all heard the term tzaddik yesod olam, right? That's it literally means a tzaddik who's the foundation of the universe.
Do we know who it is?
What?
Do we know who it is?
That's a conversation. So what's the idea though? Is that in the holy books of Kabbalah and in the Zohar and the explanations, this term tzaddik yesod olam is used and explained that everything that comes into the world, all the shefa that comes into the world, comes through that holy person. So we're building something up over here where we're seeing that attaching ourselves to the chachamim of the entire Torah, right? Of all of the books of the Torah, all of the written books of the tzaddikim, and all of the Chumash and Nach and the Mishnayos and Gemara and Halacha and Medrash and Achronim and Rishonim and Achronim and everything, and Kabbalah and the Zohar and all the Svarim, all of the books that have been written that are Torah Shebal Peh. That is the way that we're mashlim the Torah, that we make the Torah whole, that we connect to all of those people who were the tzaddikim, who were the chachamim, who are those people who are way, way up there, that all of the spiritual energy comes through. And we connect to this place of foundation stone, Even Shasiya. We connect to the tzaddik hador of all the different generations, right? Which is the Even Shasiya, the foundation stone. And by putting ourselves in that place, and that, what have we been saying from the beginning, that alignment, we're able to draw down the light. And then, the suffering that I had, the challenges that I had, where I didn't get it. Why is this happening to me? It's so hard, it's so painful. Why? Because the lights are off. The lights are off. I don't get it. I don't see what's happening. I don't see why I have to do this. And then I connect in this way and I do this, and you know what Hashem does? He says, "Oh, you've been in the dark long enough. Let's put on some light." And then the light comes, and a person begins to see, "Oh, I see now. I see the beauty of what I've been doing. I see how I've grown through my struggles. Sometimes I even get to see how that happened to me in order so that I could end up where I am now, and I needed to be. And I'm grateful for all that stuff that I went through, right? Because Hashem turned the lights on." This is one long-winded 19-minute way of explaining the idea of hamtakas hadinim, of sweetening of the judgments, sweetening of the dinim, right? And that's where we were with this concept of sweetening of the judgments and Even Shasiya. So let's go now, 260 in the middle. And we're going to go through this a little bit fast because it's all a little bit sort of repetitive and a bit hard to understand. And we're going to get to Zion and start something new. Kigam kishemamtikin hadin befrat. Because also when we sweeten the judgment for a specific one, with one of these intellectualities that's connected to a certain constriction, right? Remember, constriction means the light is constricted. That's the din that I'm facing. I have to draw down the strength from the supernal wisdom, Hanal, that we're talking about. In order so that there will be power in this wisdom to be able to sweeten the judgment. And also, in general though, that's only for one individual thing, but in general, in order to sweeten the big picture judgments, you can only do it through what's called the Seichel Ha'elyon, the supernal upper wisdom, Bechinas Kodshei Kadoshim, the Holy of Holies, Bechinas Even Shesiyah, the foundation stone, the highest level of everything. And I'm saying, even though he hasn't said it yet, and the highest tzaddikim are who's going to help us with this. And then when the Torah has its perfection, its shleimus, its wholeness, through all of the svarim that have come to exist and have come to have renewed importance to me through my teshuva process. If you remember this from last time, then we receive from the chochmei, from the supernal wisdom, bechinas luchos ha'even, which is, right, what was the Torah written on at first when Moshe Rabbeinu came down? Was the stone tablets. That's also an aspect of Even Shesiyah, the foundation stone. The first place where the Torah was ever written down on is the stone tablets, is also this foundation stone. Then, when we connect to that very, very high place, then it flows outward to all the dinim, all of the struggles, all of the challenges, and it illuminates them all, and it sweetens them all. V'chinas yishlach ezrecha mikodesh, like the pasuk says in Tehillim, that Hashem sends forth his ezer, his help, from the place that's called kodesh, from the holy place of holies, which is the highest of the high. She'ikar ha'ezer v'yeshua hu b'chinas hamtakas adinim hu mikodesh, because the main help, the main salvation, the main saving that's going to save us from our difficulties and our hamtakas adinim, our sweetening of judgments, is from kodesh, from holy. Hainu al yedei haseichel shenikra kodesh kayidua, through the seichel, the mind, the wisdom, which is called kodesh, which is called holy. So the nezeh oisios shesiyah, and this is the letters of the word shesiyah, shtia, which means foundation. Rashi Tevis is the first letters of that each letter of that word represent the first letters of a pasuk that says Hein Tavi Shakai Yaneni, which is translated as Hein Tavai Tavi. Here is my record, my writing down. Shakai Yaneni. Hashem should answer for me. Hashem should answer me. Okay, why? He's going to explain right away. Something I'm wondering if we should speak about here quickly. Just interesting, a little bit of an aside. But, we're talking about this very high place in spirituality and the high tzaddikim, the biggest tzaddikim. And we're saying that the seichel and the chachma, that those two things sort of encapsulate, is called Kodesh Kodashim. It's called the Holy of Holies, right? So I just want to point something out that we see. It's just a nice idea, but we see that Jews are like fanatical about wisdom. I remember hearing this an idea like this from Rabbi Tatz, but there's a thing that I heard this from Rabbi Tatz. He was saying that like you can see if something's really important to a certain culture, so they have a lot of different words for that thing. So he says for like the Inuit, Eskimo Inuit people, they have like 1 million words for snow. Every like different type of snow has a specific word for what it is, because that's their whole life is or a lot of it is based in snow. But Yidden, we have so many words for wisdom. You know, we have Chachma, Bina, Das, Seichel, and combinations of those, you know, and it keeps going, and you know, we have these crazy halachas like if you learn the Rambam, here's some interesting halachas that probably we know, but if we don't, you know, here's a new. We're all going to shower differently tomorrow. Why? Because even when a person's bathing, right? So there are halachas about how we're supposed to bathe, right? So don't worry, we're not getting too intimate here. But the main thing is that we always wash our head first, because our head is where our brain and our seichel and our wisdom is. We pay respect to our head by washing our head first. You know, and right? Yeah, and you know, we have a lot of things like this, like what? Right over left, yeah. But specifically connected to wisdom is this. You know, we value wisdom and chachamim in our culture more than almost anything. You know, and you see, like, there's and it leaks out even from the religious aspects of Judaism to this whole to this whole, you know, Jews are smart and have a reputation for doing crazy things and inventing crazy things and being, when I say crazy, I mean crazy awesome. But, you know, and we have such a focus on wisdom, and you see, the Zohar HaKadosh calls the Seichel Kodesh, holy. And we're calling now, Rabbi Nachman is telling us that the highest place of wisdom is called Kodesh Kodashim, the Holy of Holies. Right? So we have to know that our mind is precious. You know, I think when we first started this Torah, or maybe when we came back to it after a break, one of the things we talked about was the importance of our headspace. Right? And that the place, we said the famous Baal Shem Tov, the Makom she Adam Choshev ba, the place where a person thinks, where we put our mind, Sham Kol HaAdam. The entirety, that person's entire essence is in that place. Wherever we're putting our mind, that's who we are. That's where we are. So if we think thoughts of you know, if we're thinking about a person and we're jealous of them or angry at them, and we're rolling it around in our head and talking to other people about it and building it up, so you know what we are? We're just a jealous, angry person, because that's what our thoughts are. You know, if we spend our days, you know, watching, listen, TV shows, movies, right, news, all these, you know, YouTubers, whatever it is that draws people in. So and that's where our thoughts are all the time. Our thoughts are in you know, I think of it sometimes like this. You know, if I don't know if people still have TVs, and if movies are just a normal thing nowadays. But if we're focusing on like TV shows and movies, and that's where, you know, some people become a big fan of something. Trekkies, right? Mm-hmm. Are they still around, Trekkies?
Yeah.
Yeah? You know, so and to the extent where it like takes up a lot of their lives, their connection to this. So basically, they're not alive. They're pretending to live. They're fake. Their life is fake. Why? Because my whole mind space is just on a story that is not even real. So you know what that means? It means I'm living a life that's not real. Because wherever my mind is, that's where I am. If I'm thinking about things that are just a big waste of time, my life is a big waste of time. Chas v'shalom. Or it can be Kodesh Kodashim. It can be the Holy of Holies. I can put things into my mind that are good, positive, that are helpful, that are Torah and mitzvahs, that are, you know, and then that's and when I do that, then that's what I am. I'm a person. If I'm thinking Kedusha, I'm a person of Kedusha. So when we're talking about this idea, it's important for us to remember that it's practical. It's really practical. Very, very practical. Okay, so now Rabbi Nachman is going to explain this idea of Evan Shasia and the pasuk that comes from its letters. Hein tavi shakai. Hainu b'chinas harashim. So that means, let me be recorded. What did he say? Let this be my record. Here is my record. Shakai Hashem. Hainu b'chinas harashimois shall call it tzimtzumim. So this is that the imprint, the code of all of the constrictions that are going to be in the world. They get sweetened and rectified through coming to this place of Shasiyah, Bechinas Evan Shasiyah. So this is what Hashem will answer me. That's the Hamtaka, that's the sweetening. Bechinas Yishlach Ezrecha Mikodesh, that Hashem sends forth His help, His Ezer, from the place of Kodesh. So what is he saying over here? He's saying that all of the constrictions, all of the tzimtzumim that come into the world are written, are coded in the place where they come from. Right? There's a reshima, there's an imprint, that's their source. So meaning that, everything in the world that's ever been created is a constriction, as we said last time. Right? It's the light of Hashem being constricted and constricted and constricted until it becomes a lovely white hat. Right? Right? It used to be pure light of Hashem, and then it got constricted, right? Until it's a table, until it's whatever it is. So too, when the light is taken away more, when it's constricted more, it becomes a challenge, and it becomes a difficulty, a test, something I have to go through, right? But they're all taking the light of Hashem and constricting it in a way that it becomes my interface in the world. Right? And it's all coming from someplace up there. There's like a lahavdil, there's like a supercomputer that writes the code for everything and creates all of the channels of creation in the world. And so when we go to that place, when we go to that supercomputer to fix it, to deal with it, then we get answered from that place. This is what we're trying to do in this Torah, is to align ourselves with that lahavdil supercomputer, Kodesh Kodashim, Evan Shasiyah, foundation stone, holy of holies, up in the sky. Hein, Tave Shaka Ya'aneni, the Sefer Kasav Ish Rivi. The whole pasuk says, listen to what the whole pasuk says now. Here is my record. Let Hashem answer me. The Sefer Kasav Ish Rivi, and let the one who argues write a book. Let the one who argues write a book. Shayadei the Sefer Kasav Hanal. What did we say is the book that's written? Guys, what's the book that's written? Who writes the book?
We do.
Each one of us. Our story is a book that's being written. Our story of growth, our story of connection and reconnection is a book with question and answer, with back and forth, with call and response. That's our life. Ups and downs is the story that's written. And through writing this book, Shayidei Sefer Kasav Kanal, through the book that is written from our story. All these books that are written from this aspect of machlokes, of dispute, which is what we said. Not only do we complete the Torah when we appreciate all of the books, but part of completing the whole Torah, making the Torah whole, is that our book needs to be written. My book of my life needs to be part of that whole Torah. Right? And without that, it's not complete. Did you ever think how absolutely insane it is, the way the Torah is written? We take it for granted because we just don't have any other way to think about it. But let's say that you're Hashem and you want to write a book of Hora'ah. Torah is Lashon Hora'ah, which means to teach, to give over. Right? You're giving the laws. You're giving the ways to live. So, right, wouldn't you write a nicely organized... He should have given us the Rambam, basically. Mm-hmm. Should have given us the Rambam or the Shulchan Aruch. Just here's all the topics, all the different sections of life. Here's what you do. That's Hora'ah. That's, here, do this. It's so funny that we don't think about this and we take it for granted. But he didn't do that. He gave us a story. The whole entire Torah is a story. It's all a story. Isn't that strange? You know, imagine you show up to your first day at a new job, in like you're going to be you're showing up to a job in tech, right? And I know we have a tech person over here. You show up to your job in tech, and there's the first 6 months is training on a new platform, and so you expect there's going to be a training manual, and it's going to be, you know, point by point, nicely organized, structured. But instead, you open it, and it's a story about a guy who's I don't know, somehow how to do this tech is going to be written into a story. You'd look at these people like they're insane. What do you? Just tell me what to do. What are you giving me this story for? It's so insane. It's crazy that the Torah is a story. Right? But this is it. I'm telling you, we take it for granted. Everybody thinks, since we had the Torah to begin with, so everybody else, when they made up their religions, they also did the same thing. Right? But there's no reason for it. Well, there is a big reason for it. But one of the main reasons for it is that we see that the whole Torah is a story that's being written. Mm-hmm. Right? Not only that, even in the Gemara, where you have like halachic arguments back and forth, right? It's interspersed always with story. Called Agadata, all the different stories of what was going on. Right? You know, the stories of Rabbi Nachman are considered to be his highest, most holy of all his writings. The stories that he wrote, the fables about kings and princesses and everything, right? They're considered to be the highest of everything. So you see, it's not crazy to say the whole Torah is stories, and every person from Klal Yisrael we're here to be part of creation. We're here to bring creation to its ultimate rectification and tikkun. Our stories are an essential part of the book. We have to write our story. And if we're not fighting, we're not trying, and we're not going up and down, back and forth, Shaila and Tshuva, right? We're not writing our story. And really, you know, everybody here is supposed to have a major chapter in the story. But if we just go back into the background, so then we're just like a background character that is nothing in the story. There's no book. There's not going to be a book of Victoria anymore, or a Victoria number 2. There's not going to be a book of Vered, or a book of Binyamin, or a book of Moshe Leib, right? We're not going to have the book is missing. The Torah is not complete because you just decided to sit back and be a background character. In your book, your story is not written. Oh no! So we have to come. Our participation in the whole unfolding of the universe and the rectification and tikkun of everything is an essential part of the Torah. Is exactly what Rabbi Nachman's saying, with far fewer words than I'm using. Right? Al Yedei v'Sefer Kosav Kanal. Haina Ribas Farim Shanaisin Al Yedei Machloikes. These books that are written through this Machloikes is fighting back and forth with ourselves. Then the Torah Hashlemus Umakabelas Miseichel HaKoila, and then the light can come down. We can receive from the upper wisdom. Mechachma Ilah She Bechinas Evan Shasi, which is the foundation stone. Kanal Al Yedei Zeh Hein Tavi Shaka Yaneni. And through this being written in that place of Evan Shasiya, then Hashem is going to answer. And when Hashem answers us, it's sweetening. It's sweet. When Hashem answers us, it's sweet. Al Yedei Bechinas Luchos Evan, through the tablets of stone, Shemakablin Me'evan Shasiya, that we receive from the foundation stone. So this is why it's so important, and we need everybody on board, and every Jew is important, and we all have to write the story, and we have to complete the Torah together. Then we can connect to the highest place and draw down the light. And Kol Zman that we're not doing that, the light's not coming down to the extent that it could.
So our story has to be meaningful and with tshuva?
It's all about tshuva. Our tshuva story, in the beginning of this lesson, or closer to the beginning, he said that you know, you have books, all the Jewish books are like shaila and tshuva, question and answer, back and forth, right? And when a Jew is doing tshuva, right, we've been doing things we shouldn't do, and all of a sudden we start to ask questions. We start to pose difficulties, and then we receive or we create answers to those questions. That's part of our tshuva. Is I begin to fight back and forth. right? That's my story being written. So only when I'm doing that, when I'm actually putting the effort in, and I'm fighting, and I'm going up and then falling down, and going up and falling down. I'm asking the difficult questions. I'm posing the difficult questions to myself. What have I been doing? Where can I be better? Right? Now I'm writing my book.
You're developing.
It's going to be an interesting story. Yeah. So we need everybody, and we need ourselves to be on the path in order to connect this way. Okay. We got a few more minutes. So okay, we're going to go to a new idea now, sort of over here, but an idea that's very near and dear to my heart. Here we go. Zion, page 266, L'chaim. This is the aspect of this that we travel to tzaddikim on Rosh Hashanah. So, just in case anybody doesn't know, breslevers often get flack from people who are not in the same mindset for going to Uman for Rosh Hashanah, right? How could you leave your family and go for Rosh Hashanah? Shouldn't you be, right? So just so you know, this was like a totally normal thing. It still is normal thing. People used to always, like, men would leave and go to their Rebbe for Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur. They would go even in the yeshiva world. They would go. One of my friends, Zev Farkas, his grandfather grew up in Europe as in Cheder with a Tasha Rebbe of Montreal when they were little boys, and they were very close. And his grandfather, the Tasha Rebbe, became the Tasha Rebbe, he was the tzaddik hador at his time, Namish, the holy of holies, the Tasha Rebbe of Montreal. Zev's grandfather became a business person, and he had a family and everything, but he was a secret tzaddik and a tremendous Talmud Chacham, and he learned late into the night, like into the wee hours of the morning, every single night. He would remember when he would sleep over by his Zaydi's house. He would wake up in the middle of the night, and he would always find his grandfather awake learning, right? A holy, holy person. And he never missed a year. Every single year, he left Toronto and went to Montreal to spend Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur with the Tasha Rebbe. And the Tasha Rebbe would bring him in. He looked like a normal guy, like a clean-shaven guy. Tasha Rebbe would always bring him in and sit him right beside him. I love this story. It's a very sweet story. But the point is that there's such a custom for Jews to go to their Rebbe for Rosh Hashanah. Okay? So when he says this, he's saying it in a way of Noisin al Rosh Hashanah l'tzadikim. That's the general form of the word. Nosim. We go to the tzaddikim Rosh Hashanah. First point. So what's pshat? What's the story over here? Rosh Hashanah, hu yoma dedina shel kol Hashanah. Because Rosh Hashanah is the day of judgment for the entire year. Yom Hadin, right? We say it in the davening. It's called Yom Hadin, the day of judgment. V'chol echad ve'echad ba im kedushaso v'tzimtzuma el hatzadik hador. And so every individual comes with his kedushasa, with his kedusha, with his holiness, v'tzimtzumav, and his constrictions, el hatzadik hador, to the tzaddik hador, the righteous person of the generation. Shu b'chinas kodesh kodshei kedoshim, who is an aspect of the holy of holies. B'chinas Evan Shasiya, the tzaddik is kodesh kedoshim, is Evan Shasiya. B'chinas kil Hashem metzuke eretz v'yoshas alehem teva. The pasuk says, the pillars of the earth are Hashem's, and He founded the world upon them. Shehem hatzadikim she'aleihem nishtas ha'olam. This is the tzadikim, that on them the world was founded. V'al yedei zeh nimtakim kol hadinim. And it's through this that all the judgments are sweetened. Ayadei bechinas Evan Shasiya, through this concept of the foundation stone. So like this, there's a lot to talk about here. So first of all, there's a famous, I think it's a medrash. So there's a pasuk in the beginning of Sefer Bereshis, where Hashem says, "Naaseh Adam b'tzalmeinu u'kedusenu." Right? How do we translate that? Naaseh Adam.
We'll make Adam.
Yeah, what?
We'll make Adam.
we'll make man.
Yeah.
We'll make man in
We'll
our
make man
B'Tzelmeinu,
in our
Kid
image.
Museinu, in our image and in our form, like our form, right? So everybody jumps up and asks, "Come again?
Who's we?
Let us make man? We are going to make man? Who's the we?" Like Hashem's looking around, like I thought it was the or Ein Sof only. I thought it was just me.
But we are.
Who else am I talking to here? Who's Hashem talking to?
Us.
Naaseh Adam. Let's make man. It can't be us. We didn't exist yet.
The angels.
Let's make man, right? What are we talking about? Okay, so there's a few different answers. The worst of which is that the Christians like to use this as a thing to say that it's Hashem talking to JC, right? But okay, it was like a Jew in the middle of anyway. However, something totally amazing is that there's a few different commentaries and a few different answers to this that are equally valid. But one of them is that Hashem was nimlach im nishmais hatzadikim. That Hashem was speaking to the souls of the tzaddikim, the souls of the righteous people that are going to be the tzaddikim in the world, discussing whatever that means. I don't know, the creation, the what's going to be, right? So when he says over here that the pillars of the earth, which is tzaddik yisoid olam, shem tzaddikim she'aleihem nishtas ha'olam, it's the world was founded on them. The Medrash is telling us this. It's saying that Hashem made the whole world based on the tzaddikim, right? That this is how it's supposed to be. This is the way that the world is supposed to exist. And what are the tzaddikim? What did the tzaddikim do? They bring Hashem into the world. They connect the lower world to Hashem. That's what they do. That's their entire purpose. They bring the light from the high places down into the dark world. They connect us.
Mentors.
In a certain way, yeah. Hashem b'tzvik hearts. So what's happening over here? And everybody comes with their kedusha and with their tzimtzum, with their tzimtzumim. So we all come to the tzaddikim, to the tzaddik, Rosh Hashanah, and we bring our kedusha. What's our kedusha? As we said, is our seichel, the things that we tried to figure out, right? The things that we were able to figure out, that we tried to figure out, and then we also bring our tzimtzumim, our constrictions, all of those tests that we had, all of those struggles that we had, all of the times when we couldn't see, when we didn't know, when we were doubtful, when we were scared, and when we were sad, and we didn't see Hashem, all of our tests, everything that we've gone through, all of our struggles, and we bring that. So where do we bring it? Right? It's like a spiritual. It's so amazing. It's something mamish unbelievable, and it really speaks to the tremendous power of Uman Rosh Hashanah. Because what's happening over here is that we're going to the place which is the top of the year, the beginning of the year, right? The top place of judgment, the Yom Hadin for the whole year, at the top. So it's the top of the year. It's the Rosh of the year, Rosh Hashanah, right? The Rosh, remember, the Rosh is the place of Chachma, of wisdom, of which we call Kodesh Kodashim already, which we call the holiness. We go to at the Rosh of the year, right? And we go we go to the Rosh in, so that's in time, and in person, we go to the Rosh of all of Klal Yisrael. We go to the tzaddik, who's the top. He's the Rosh of everybody, right? And we go to this place and we bring our kedusha and our tzimtzum. We bring all of our struggles and everything that we've done. And our kedusha and our tzimtzum, by the way, is like the sefer, is our story. It's when we have the kedusha and our mind is clear and we're focused. And then we have our tzimtzumim, our constrictions, our little things. We go to the tzaddik with our story, with our Torah that we wrote, that our life is writing. At that time, and we connect in that place to the highest of the high, the Kodesh Kodashim, the Chachma Ilah, the upper wisdom. It's a I don't know what the word is. It's like a vortex of Rosh, a vortex of the top place, the top person, the top time, the top holiness, and we go there, and that's how all of those things are Evan Shasia, our foundation, are foundational. And that's how we're able to receive a hamtakas adin. That's how we can have a good din for the rest of the year, right? So, not everybody does this, and we still hopefully end up okay. But to do such a thing is something absolutely amazing, totally amazing. And he's telling us over here. It's interesting that by Rabbi Nachman it became one of his main things. Rabbi Nachman said that his entire thing, whatever that means, his entire essence is Rosh Hashanah. While he was alive, he said this, that Hashem gave him a gift, that he understood what Rosh Hashanah really is, that no one else in the universe knows. So Rabbi Nachman is very, very attached to the holiday of Rosh Hashanah. And here he's explaining just a droplet of what Rosh Hashanah really is and what really happens in Rosh Hashanah. Right? So we need to come. Why do we need to bring? This is why he's saying over here, it's so amazing and so sweet, that in order to connect to that top place, we have to have the Torah b'shleimus. The Torah has to be complete. Right? So you'd think that he would say, so every Jew has to go on Rosh Hashanah, to the tzaddik hador, and he has to bring with him all of the Torah Chedushim he wrote. Or he has to bring with him all of the books that he learned, all the Torah books that he learned. Because you need to have all the Torah to go there. But he's telling us that our life is a part of this Torah. Our Kedusha and our Tzimtzum, our ups and our downs. We come to the tzaddik with this, and we bring our completion of the Torah to this place, and with that we're able to connect to the highest of the high, because we have the entire Torah. 1 second. Yeah, and so, it's so crucial, and it's something that we talk about in our shiurim a lot, right? Could be almost every shiur. We mention this one way or another, and it's the importance of we always have to know that my life is not only good when I'm doing something amazing. Right? It's not only good when, we hosted a beautiful Shabbos meal and the food was great and there was divrei Torah and everyone loved it and everybody was like, oh, thank you for that Suda, it was so fantastic and the food was delicious and the Torah and the nigunim and everything was good, right? Thank you for that. And we feel like, oh, that was a high point. That was something very special. Or that time when we went and visited Eretz Yisrael and we went to these holy places and it was so spiritually connecting and it was so amazing. Oh, that's really living, right? So one of the most important things is that we have to know that that's true. But you know what else is really living? Is when we're facing a real test, a real challenge, and we come through it. And comes Rosh Hashanah time, comes when we go to the tzaddik, whenever our time point is over there. And we say, you know what? I'm bringing my whole life to you, Hashem. My whole life is for you, Hashem. That time when I was at the top, Kedusha, that was clearly for you. But you know what? I recognize that time when I was down, that was also you. You gave it to me as a gift. You gave it to me to grow. You gave it to me to become close to you. Thank you. And I'm bringing that. I'm coming with that also. And when I come with that, now you see, it's like I'm forcing Hashem's hand to show me the clarity of everything. Because I'm saying I know that was you. I have the emunah. I have the clarity, right? So it's something very, very, very special. So that's why we say always ein shum yush, right? What does ein shum yush mean? Ein shum yush b'olam klal. There's no such thing as despair, giving up in the world, right? So people ask often, why is it in that form? Why is this sentence? This is like one of the Breslov calls to battle. Ein shum yesh ba'olam klal, right? Just like gesher tzar meod, So it's like one of these things. Why? What do you mean? You should have just said, don't give up. Al tityayesh. Don't give up. Don't despair. In shum yesh ba'olam klal, there's no giving up in the world at all. It doesn't exist. What does it mean? What's the story? what is it, right? There's a few different ways to understand it, but one of them is that it's not something that even can really exist, because we're always in a state of up and down. Like, we never are stagnant. There's no such thing as being in such a low place where you could give up. It doesn't even exist. Like, Hashem is right there with you, and He's going to take you to the next place already. It doesn't even make sense, right? It's not something that should have any tefisa, any grasp whatsoever on us ever. Yeah, so. And when we come and we say, you know what, I recognize Hashem, that every moment of my life you're with me. Thank you. We're bringing that to Him. There's also the aspect of the stones of Yaakov Avinu, shenichalu kulam b'soich even shasiya, that they all gathered together into the foundation stone. Well, what does that mean? So I think we mentioned this last time, that the foundation stone is in the place of the Beis Hamikdash where the Holy of Holies is, right? And when Yaakov Avinu came there and he needed to lie down, so we wanted to put stones around, 12 stones around his head to protect him. It'd be like some sort of torturous pillow, I don't know. And what happened? So the Medrash says that all of the stones said, we want to be the stone that the tzaddik puts his head on. There's going to be some around and one under his head, and so they all merged into like one stone that he could put his head on, right? And that stone is the stone that's there under the Dome of the Rock right now, on the Har HaBayis, where the Ark of the Covenant goes when we have a Beis Hamikdash there. It's the same stone, the same place. It's called the foundation stone. So what's the story? Why? Because souls are an aspect of stones, of rocks. How do we see it? Tishtap chena avnei kodesh. So the holy stones have been thrown around. V'chulam bayim. I don't really know actually why that is a. Oh, right. So this is a Yirmiyahu Navi. Yirmiyahu, he was a prophet during the times of the destruction of the Beis Hamikdash. And he was talking about how all the Jews have been killed and thrown about like stones. But he's talking about the souls of the Jewish people have been thrown around like stones. Yirmiyahu uses the word stones to refer to Jewish souls. And Yaakov Avinu was the tzaddik hador, and the stones which represent neshamas, all gathered together to be together with the tzaddik hador, with the righteous person of the generation, Yaakov Avinu. Shubechinas even shasiya, he is the foundation stone. So the tzaddik is called the foundation stone, and the story of Yaakov Avinu is all of these parts coming together. He is the tzaddik of the generation, who is called Even Shasiya, the foundation stone. And his story, written in the Torah, is where all of the stones, which are the souls meant to be souls, come together as one underneath the head, the rosh, the chachma, the wisdom of the tzaddik hador, Even Shasiya. The wisdom, the supernal wisdom, the chachma law is called Even Shasiya. The tzaddik is called Even Shasiya. And the place over there is called Even Shasiya. And all the stones came together as one stone underneath his head, supporting it as Even Shasiya. The whole story is foundation stone. This is Yaakov Avinu in that place. So, 1 second.
Why is it called Even Shtia?
Yeah.
Does it have to do with like drinking, or why is it called like that?
Yeah, so it's very interesting. That's a great question. That's a really good question. Like the word, like I think I'm not sure exactly what the shorish is. I'll have to look into it. But it's either shin taf yud or nun shin taf. I'm not sure what the shorish is. The shorish of drinking is probably shin taf hey. So it's not the exact same word, but they're certainly related, right? And yeah, so like we had one pasuk over here that nishtas ha'olam, which the word nishtat means to be founded upon, like the foundation, right? And that's really what the word comes from. I'm just making this up right now. Could be totally, completely wrong. But there's water is one of these things that we absolutely cannot live without. It's like foundational. We must have water. We can go a long time without food, but water we can't go barely a few days without. It's a big fad right now. A lot of people I know are doing water fasting,
Yeah, I heard about
where they don't eat anything. They just drink water for like 2 to 5 days. Some people do it for like 20 days, just water. And they have a whole cheshbon about how, that it cleans out your autophagy, it cleans out the bad parts of your cells and does all these good things for you, whatever, and whatever you could lose weight, whatever you want to do, right? But there's no such thing as a 5-day, what they call dry fast, with no food, no water. Like, forget it, not happening. I mean, so there is such a thing in the holy practices. And Rabbi Nachman says about himself that up until he was, I think, before his bar mitzvah, he used to fast, I think 18 times in 1 year. He fasted from Shabbos to Shabbos, a complete fast. And there is such Kabbalistic things where people fast for multiple days, like 3 days, no food or water, and they do these different prayers and whatever. Never done such a thing. I don't do these things, but such a thing exists. Rabbi Nachman said, interestingly, he said that afterwards, he kind of came out against the concept of fasting, except for when it's, like mandated fast by the Torah or whatever, because he said that what a Jew can accomplish with his hisbodedus, going by yourself, secluding oneself, and talking to Hashem for long periods of time. He said you can accomplish more with his hisbodedus than you could with fasting. And if he had known that, he never would have fasted the way that he did when he was young, because he said it had a bad effect on his body. It was not good for his body. This is what he said. But why am I talking about this? My ADHD brain just took a left turn somewhere. How do we get there? Oh, Evan Shasiya, that's right. Foundation stone. So water is foundational to us, and a must, I think. So anyway, so I'll tell you some interesting news, guys. Looks like next week is going to be our last week in this lesson, and then we're going to be starting a brand new lesson. And especially for those who came in the middle of this lesson, it's a different experience when you start from the beginning, and you get to build week by week. And so we're probably likely gonna do the same lesson that we're doing with the other groups, which is Torah Zion in the second section of Likutei Moharan, and we'll be getting some of these books coming in and stuff. But in any case, we have one more week with this Torah to finish off, and looking forward. So with that, any comments, questions?